I was supposed to die that night. In fact, I was ready for it. It was supposed to be a routine business trip. My wife, Emma, kissed me in the morning, said she loved me, and reminded me to call as soon as I landed. We had been married for 8 years, and somehow every goodbye kiss from her always felt special. I loved that about her. She never overlooked the little things. But my flight never took off. A storm, the strongest in a decade, hit the East Coast, grounding all planes. It was chaos. Crowded airports, weary travelers. It was hell. I was irritated, impatient, but decided to book a hotel room for the night and catch the first flight in the morning. I called Emma to let her know I wouldn't be coming home, and she sounded relieved, saying something like,
"Maybe it's fate. You're safe on the ground."
I laughed. I didn't believe in fate. That night I got a call. My phone vibrated around midnight. It was Emma. I smiled, thinking she was calling to say goodnight. But when I answered, I heard only static, faint, muffled breathing, and then a whisper.
"David, please."
Her voice was trembling, panicked, barely audible through the interference. My heart immediately clenched. Something was wrong. I tried to shout her name, but the line disconnected before I could get a response. I dialed her number again. No answer. I called 3 more times. Nothing. I sat in that hotel staring at the phone, trying to convince myself that maybe it was a bad connection. But the sound of her voice, it was raw fear, like I'd never heard before. I packed my things and hurried to the car rental desk. It didn't matter that it was a 4-hour drive home. I needed to get there. Something inside me told me I didn't have time. The drive was like a blur, endless miles of dark highway, rain pounding against the windshield, headlights barely piercing the storm. All I could think about was Emma. Was she in danger? Was someone in the house? Maybe a burglary? Finally, I pulled up to the house. It was dark, but the front door was slightly ajar. I rushed inside, calling her name. No response. I checked every room, every corner, but there was no sign of Emma. No signs of struggle, no broken glass, no overturned furniture. Just nothing. And then my phone vibrated again. A voicemail. My blood ran cold when I saw it was from Emma. My hands shook as I pressed play. At first there was only static again, but then her voice broke through.
"David, don't come home.
I froze.
Please don't come here. I love you, but it's too late. They are here. They've always been here. I tried to stop them, but I can't anymore. They want you. And if you come back, they'll take you too." Her voice broke into a sob. "I'm so sorry. I love you. Don't..."
The message abruptly ended with a chilling, soul-freezing scream. It wasn't Emma's scream. It was something else. Something inhuman. Something that echoed through the static, as if it didn't belong to this world. I stood in the hallway replaying the message in my head. It made no sense. Who are they? What did she mean? Emma wasn't the type to believe in the supernatural, and neither was I. But the fear in her voice was real. I called the police, but when they arrived, they found nothing unusual. No signs of forced entry, no disturbances. They looked at me like a man in shock, suggesting that maybe Emma had run away. But I knew that wasn't the case. I felt it. The house wasn't empty. It was watching me, waiting for me. I spent that night in a hotel. I couldn't stay there, not after what I'd heard. Days turned into weeks. Emma was gone, without a trace, without any leads. I'd listen to that message every night, trying to understand it, trying to hear something I might have missed, but every time it was the same. Her trembling voice, her warning, that final scream. And then one night, I was sitting in the car across from the house. I couldn't bring myself to go in since that night. I just watched it from afar. And then I saw her. She was standing at the upstairs window, light softly behind her, just a silhouette. But it was Emma. I would recognize her figure anywhere. My heart leaped into my throat. She was alive. She had to be. I bolted from the car, running to the front door. It was locked, but my hands were shaking as I tried to fit the key into the lock, desperate to see her, to get an explanation. When I finally got inside, I called her name, but again, nothing. I dashed up the stairs, nearly tripping, and flung open the door to our bedroom. Empty. But the bed was made, and on the pillow lay my phone, perfectly centered. It vibrated. Another voicemail. I pressed play with trembling fingers. Devarim.
David, I told you not to come back.
And then that sound again. That same inhuman scream, but now louder. So loud it seemed to come from the walls around me, vibrating through the floor, shaking the whole house. I don't know what these beings are, the ones that took my wife, but I know that now they want me too. I still hear her voice, in my head, in my dreams, always pleading with me not to return. But it's too late. I'm already home, and they're waiting for me.